Imagine walking into an interview and confidently showcasing your ability to transform raw data into powerful insights that drive business decisions. Sounds impressive, right? Well, that's exactly what mastering Power BI can do for you. Welcome to our Power BI course, your gateway to becoming a skilled data analyst or business analyst. Whether you are a working professional or looking to kickstart your career in the tech industry or just gearing up for a crucial interview, Power BI is the tool you need to stand out. Did you know that 97% of Fortune 500 companies trust Power BI to empower their data driven decision making? And it's not just these giants. The business intelligence market is booming, expected to reach a staggering $43 billion by 2028, with Power BI leading the charge thanks to its seamless integration with Microsoft 365 and Azure. Recognized as the most popular business intelligence platform by Gartner, Power BI consistently earns its spot as a leader in their Magic Quadrant for analytics and BI platforms. This isn't just hype. Companies report up to a 50% reduction in time spent on data analytics processes after adopting Power BI. Imagine what you could achieve with that kind of efficiency. And here's the kicker, it's cost effective. Power BI offers a robust set of features that make it an ideal choice not only for large enterprises but also for small and medium businesses looking to make a big impact without breaking the bank. Power BI seamlessly integrates with over 200 popular services, including Salesforce, Google Analytics, and SharePoint, giving you a complete 360-degree view of your business data. This means you pull in data from multiple sources effortlessly and create stunning visualizations that tell a compelling story. Speaking of stories, Power BI excels in data storytelling. With more than 30 built-in visuals and a vast library of custom visuals, you can create interactive reports that not only inform but also engage your audience. Plus, with real-time data insights and AI-powered analytics, even those without a tech background can perform sophisticated analysis. But it's not just about the tools, it's about the opportunities. Power BI experts enjoy lucrative salaries, averaging between $95,000 to $140,000 per year in US. Even higher earnings for senior professionals and consultants. With over 50,000 job postings seeking Power BI skills and a 30% year-on-year demand growth, mastering Power BI is your ticket to a thriving career. And the best part? Power BI is designed with a simple learning curve. Its familiar interface, similar to other Microsoft Office tools, ensures that even non-technical users can quickly adapt and create effective reports. Plus, with mobile accessibility, you can monitor key metrics on the go, making it easier than ever to stay connected to your data, no matter wherever you are. As organizations increasingly adopt data-driven practices, learning Power BI isn't just a skill, it's an investment for your future. Master Power BI and step into the future of business. Lead, innovate, and excel at the forefront of any industry. Get ready to become unstoppable in the data world. With Power BI, you'll gain the skills that companies are looking for. Skills that lead to high salaries, impressive roles, and a standout career. So it's time to dive into Power BI and unlock your true potential. Let's make it happen.
Hello there, welcome in Power BI training. Let's learn Power BI if you want to boost your career with one of the top data visualization tools in the world. So, what is business intelligence? Before we talk about Power BI, before we understand Power BI, let's understand what is business intelligence and why even we need to understand this. So, let me explain. Business intelligence is a process which involves using tools and technologies, making the business intelligent. How to make businesses intelligent? By taking well-informed decisions. And how businesses can take well-informed decisions? By analyzing and visualizing the data. There is huge, massive amount of data generated by all the businesses. And when businesses use this data to take well-informed decisions, that's part of business intelligence. Let me talk about some of the use cases of BI or business intelligence. It helps in taking well-informed decision, data-driven decisions. BI also helps in converting the raw data into actionable insights so that strategies can be made in business. Some of the use case of BI includes in retail, inventory management and sales forecasting. In finance, risk analysis and fraud detection. There are so many frauds happening around the world, and already in advance, these can be detected using business intelligence. Then healthcare. Patient data management, predictive healthcare will improve healthcare system because doctors management can be done better, their time can be utilized in a better way, patient management can be done in a better way. So this way, using business intelligence, different sectors can leverage the existing data and they can make well informed decisions using their own data. So, every industry from healthcare to finance needs Power BI experts. What are the steps involved in business intelligence? So, the very first step is collection of data. We need to have some data, then only we will be able to analyze and visualize that data. Data can be stored internally or maybe it can be stored externally in some database because sometimes there may be huge data set, and to store that data sometimes external data sources has to be used. Then comes processing of that data. This data can be stored in a raw format. This data can be stored in a very organized format. There can be duplicates. There can be unstructured data. So the very first step before visualization comes data processing, which includes cleaning and transformation, structuring the data for analysis. Data should be prepared before visualization. Then comes data analysis. Once the data is ready for analysis and visualization, then we can start the data analysis process using analytics to generate insights. So we can use data analytics to generate insights to visualize the data. And then finally, once we have analyzed the data, we know what exactly we are supposed to do with the data. According to data, we can decide what kind of analysis needs to be done. Then finally comes reporting and visualization. So, what is reporting or what is visualization? Presenting data in a visual format. Because human eyes cannot read numbers easily, it takes more time to read numbers. But when we see visuals, human eyes can easily see trends and patterns. So we can create dashboards and reports to present data in an insightful manner. Now let's talk about what is data visualization. So data visualization is part of business intelligence only, but data visualization includes graphical representation of data, creating visuals, creating charts so that we can find out patterns in the data, we can find out trends in data, we can do trend analysis, we can find exceptions in data or maybe outliers in the data, and how we can find all this by visually presenting the data. That's called data visualization. Now, what are the benefits of data visualization? Why even we want to do data visualization? It allows the users to see different perspective of the same data. We can tell different stories using the same data. Data visualization also makes it possible to interpret a very vast amount of data. We may have thousands of rows, we may have millions or billions of rows, and those rows can be easily interpreted. It also offers the ability to find exceptions in the data or outliers in the data. It also allows the user to analyze visual patterns in the data. We can see what is the pattern when sales is high or low, when a company is profitable, in which division, department, or maybe geographical location. So these are some of the benefit of data visualization. Power BI is the most popular BI tool in the industry. Now, you tell me in comments the name of more tools which you already know or which you have already explored or you are using in your day-to-day life. Let me talk about some of the most commonly used data visualization tool in the market. So very commonly used BI tool or data visualization tool in the market is Excel. That's one of the most oldest commonly used BI or data visualization tool. Then we have Power BI, which is a product by Microsoft. Tableau is another BI tool, a product by Salesforce. Then we have ClickSense, we have Oracle, Google Studio. There are so many other data visualization tools, but right now Power BI is leading. This is one of the top data visualization tool in the world currently. Now let me introduce what is Power BI. So Before I introduce Power BI, we should know how to install the application. So with minimum specification you need Windows at least 10 or higher. We need minimum at least 4 GB RAM. Then we can download Power BI either from Microsoft website and then install the application, or we can also download Power BI from Microsoft Store. What is Power BI? So Power BI will allow us to analyze the data, to explore the data. It's an application. Power BI has many components. Power BI Desktop is one of the application which we will download. So Power BI gives the ability to even share and collaborate those reports and dashboards which we are going to create. There is offline version of Power BI and then we have online version of Power BI. So now I'm going to introduce offline version or the desktop Power BI desktop app. This application is free. We can easily download it from Microsoft website and then we can use Power BI desktop free of cost for creating reports, and dashboard can be created using Power BI online, which is Power BI service. So Power BI desktop is the software or application which we download in our local machine, and then Power BI service is the online version of Power BI, which is useful for sharing and collaboration. And then finally, even we also have Power BI mobile application, which can be used to consume these reports and dashboards. You know that we can only consume reports and dashboards in web version? No. If anyone who is traveling and they want to read these reports and dashboards, they can access these reports and dashboards created by them or shared by someone else. They can consume those in mobile application as well. How to download Power BI? To download Power BI, either we can download it from Microsoft website. We need to search download Power BI on Google, and then using this link, we can open Microsoft website, and from Microsoft website, we can download Power BI. It may take few seconds. We can choose either this or this setup. Click here and then we can download. We can also download Power BI from Microsoft Store. This is the application available. So we need to search Power BI Desktop, search the complete text Power BI Desktop, and then we can download Power BI Desktop. In my case, it says open because I've already downloaded Power BI, but you might see here Get. So just click on Get and you'll be able to download Power BI. Now, what is the difference when we download Power BI from Microsoft website or we download from here? So Microsoft is launching monthly updates. Every month they're coming up with new updates. If you want those new updates should be updated in Power BI automatically, then you should download Power BI from Microsoft Store instead of downloading Power BI from Microsoft website. If we download Power BI from Microsoft Store, then most of the updates you will see automatically update in Power BI Desktop. So it's a better way to download. Rest, if you don't have Microsoft Store, in that case, you can download from Microsoft website. I am pretty excited to make you Power BI experts. Are you excited? If yes, please comment. Now let's know about the workflow in Power BI. The very first step is preparation of data. First step is we connect with a data source, and then what is a data source? That source which has data. So we connect with any data, we load data in Power BI, and before visualization, there are various steps involved. The very first step is preparation of data. We clean and transform the data. And once we have cleaned and transformed the data, we model the data. Data modeling means building relationship between different tables. Those tables may be available in one data source, or these different tables can come from different data sources. We can connect with different data sources in Power BI. What is a data source? For example, Excel file. Some data is available in Excel file. We will connect with Excel. We will get that data in Power BI. Some data is available in SQL. So SQL database is providing some tables. So we will connect even with those tables also. If there are any common entries given in these different tables, we can connect those tables or we can build relationship. Mapping is possible if there are some common keys or some kind of IDs available, then we can build a relationship. Then comes visualization. Once we have prepared the data, we have modeled the data, then we visualize the data. So what is visualizing? Visualizing is presenting the data visually, creating charts and graphs. Once we have created charts and graphs, we spend time in analyzing the data to see trends and patterns in the data. And then finally, we manage the assets we will use in Power BI, data sets, refresh and all. So we will manage those assets which we will be using in Power BI. That's the final step. Now let's proceed and let's talk about the key features of Power BI workflow. We will start with importing the data. We will connect with a data source. And once we connect with that data source, we will transform the data. Now, transformation may include cleaning the data, filtering the data, structuring the data, or giving shape so that data is prepared for visualization. And we are going to do this in Power Query Editor. Very soon, we are going to see what is Power Query Editor and how exactly we will do all these transformations. We are going to learn this very soon. Next step involved data modeling. So as I just mentioned few minutes back, creating relationship is called data modeling. This also has another aspect. One is building relationship between multiple tables and calculations. Measures and calculated columns are part of calculations. We can add insights by adding calculation in case some data is missing, some information is missing, and we want to use that insight in the visualization of our data. Then we can create those kind of calculations. We can create those kind of calculated column, calculated tables or measures. And then finally, report building. Report building includes creating visuals, creating report using different visuals and dashboards. So this is the workflow in Power BI. 90% of Fortune 500 companies trust Power BI for data analysts, and they are using Power BI for data visualization in their company. Now, let me introduce user interface of Power BI when you will open Power BI for the first time. So let's open Power BI and let's see what kind of interface we are going to see. So for the first time, when we will open Power BI, if you are using latest version, then you will see user interface something like this. If you are using older version of Power BI, if you have downloaded Power BI many years back and you downloaded it from Microsoft website, then you might see older version. You might see a different interface. But if you have downloaded Power BI from Microsoft Store, then you will see latest version of Power BI. How you will see which version you're using, because some of you might see different user interface. In that case, we can say in about, we can click on about, and this will tell us version. So this is the version right now. I'm using August 2024. So you can check your version by clicking on about option. We need to click on blank report. To open Power BI, let's click on blank report. We have learned how to check Power BI version. Now we are going to learn user interface of Power BI. So if you work on Excel, then remember that Power BI is a baby of Excel only. So like Excel has ribbon. Let me open Excel also. So like Excel has this ribbon, even PPT also has a ribbon. Similarly, even Power BI also has a ribbon. So let's compare Excel and Power BI. Why even we want to compare Excel and Power BI? It is because Power BI is a baby of Excel only. So like Excel has this ribbon and Excel has these different tabs: home, insert, and then formulas, data, view. These are different tabs under this ribbon. And then we can add multiple pages. This is Excel. Somewhat similar user interface is given to even Power BI as well. This is called as ribbon. And these are different tabs. Under these tabs, there are multiple features given. Let's make the session interactive. Tell me in comments what's your purpose of learning Power BI. If we see this white space here, this white space is called as canvas. This is canvas where we are going to create a report. Like in Excel, we can add multiple worksheets. In Power BI also, we can add multiple pages. This is called as filter pane. These are the buttons. This kind of button is given to expand or to collapse these panes. We can expand data pane. Right now, we have not loaded any data. We can see here, you have not loaded any data yet. There is no data as of now in Power BI. Before we get data in Power BI, let's quickly understand. This is called as data pane. This is called as visualization pane. This is called as filter pane, and this is called as canvas where we are going to create a report, and this is called as ribbon. And using this ribbon, we can use these multiple tabs given. So user interface is somewhat similar. We are already familiar. We have seen such interface before. So to connect with any data source, we need to click on get data. Get data is given at multiple places. We can see get data is given here. Get data is also given here. Get data is also given here. Now, how we can connect with a data source and what are the different data source we can connect with in Power BI? Let's click here. And these are the most commonly used data sources. What is a data source? Data source is that source which has data. And these are the, for example, Excel is a file type. We can connect with Excel file type. We can connect with SQL Server. We can connect with even text file. We can connect with web. Directly data is available on internet. For example, Wikipedia. We want to get some tables from Wikipedia. We can connect with those web browser links and then we can get that data. Similarly, we can click on more to say this entire list of data sources we can connect with in Power BI. So do you want to see different file types? So these are the file types: Excel, text or CSV, comma separated, and then we have XML, JSON file. Even we can also connect with a folder. Suppose we have more than hundreds of Excel files and we want to combine those files. We need to connect with that folder and we can easily combine those hundreds of Excel files if data structure is same in all the Excel files. We want to see even this list of databases, we can see that as well. These are the different databases we can connect with: SQL, Excel, Access database, Oracle database, IBM, SAP HANA. We can scroll down and we can see this entire list of databases. We can also go to Microsoft Fabric, Power Platform, Azure, online services, others, etc. So these are the different data sources we can connect with. Now, how to connect with a data source? To connect with a data source, we need to choose Get Data. And once we click on Get Data, we will be able to connect with that data source. If suppose we want to connect with Excel file, directly we can click here or we can click here. So now, next step, let's learn how to connect with a data source and how to get data in Power BI to get started. Like this is a blank Excel file. There is nothing here. This is a blank Excel file. Similarly, this is also a blank Power BI file. We will get started once we connect with a data source. Once we get data in Power BI, then only we can create visuals, we can create report. The global BI market is projected to reach 47 billion by the end of next year. So we just now introduce ourselves with the ribbon available. Let's talk about these different ribbons and different features available within ribbon. So within Home tab, we will find most commonly used features like cut, paste, get data from various data sources, and then insert. Second one is the insert tab. So what exactly we will find in insert tab? We can go to insert tab. Within insert tab, we are going to find these different features available. Like it will allow us to add AI visuals, text box, buttons, shapes, images, etc. It will also allow us to use this AI artificial intelligence visuals available. Then we can move to modeling tab. Under modeling tab, different features are given, like we can add new measures for calculations. This calculation group is available. This is the calculation group, and we can create a table. We can create new columns. We can create these new measures. This calculation group is given. And then we have some more options given. The next tab is view button or view tab. Under view tab, we can change theme. If suppose we want to change theme of our entire report, we can use theme, and then we have some more features. We have show panes group, which has multiple features like filters, bookmarks, selection pane, performance analyzer. So we are going to learn about all these features one by one when we will create a report. So these are the different tabs given. And then we have three types of views available. One is report view, then we have table view, and we have model view. So what are these views? These views are given here. If we hover our mouse, we can see name of this view. The very first icon is report view. Second one is table view. Third one is model view. So these are the different views available. We will see this in detail once we connect with our data source. Many companies like Microsoft, Amazon hire Power BI experts with very high package. Now let's get started and let's connect with some data source. We are going to get data in Power BI to get started. So why even we want to get started? Why even we want to connect with our data source? Let me explain why even we want to use this data. So what is this data? This data is about sales, about profits. So we have different worksheets available. This is very commonly used data source, which is Global Superstore data set. And in this data set, there are multiple worksheets given. One is order details, which has these different columns available. And even we have these transactional values like unit price, quantity, sales, profit, target sales, etc. Then we have product table. And then we have customer table who purchase these products. Then we have date. One column along this one column has all different dates. Then we have sales representative table. So these are the different worksheets available in this document. Now, if I'll ask you, hey, who all are the best customers? We don't know. By just looking at this data, we won't be able to answer which products are most profitable, which category or subcategory is generating highest sales, which market or country or state is generating highest sales, who all are the top or bottom top 10 or bottom 10 customers. So we want to retain all the best customers, but we won't be able to answer these questions by just looking at this data. So we would like to visualize this data. So why we want to visualize this data? It is because we want to create some strategies for the business so that business can grow. So we want to make our business intelligent by leveraging this BI or data visualization tool. Why not in Excel? Because sometimes data is very huge, very massive, and Excel can store very less data. Excel can store up to 1 million rows. Let me show you. If we need to say how many number of rows we can enter in Excel, it depends on which version you're using. This is 2019 version. In latest version, we can add up to 1,048,576 rows. If suppose we have more than 2 million data, then we won't be able to store that data in Excel, and we won't be able to visualize that data. That data has to be stored in a different source. Maybe some database can be used to store that much data. Now, even if we will store up to 5 lakhs rows or maybe even 1 million rows, it is difficult to visualize that data in Excel because Excel will slow down once we start using such a huge, massive amount of data in Excel. And then there are many other reasons during this course. We will learn those reasons why Power BI went to move from Excel to Power BI. With Power BI expertise, you can become data analyst, business analyst, BI consultant, and more. You tell in comments what's your target job, and I will help you in getting ready for the same. So we are going to connect with this data source. The file type is Excel. The data source file type is Excel. So let me show you how we can connect with this data source, because without connecting with this data source, this is a blank Power BI file. To get started, we need to connect with data source. We can click on import data from Excel. We can click here as well if we want. This will also allow, even we can click on get data, wherever you see get data, we can click on that, and that will allow us to connect with that data source. Now we are going to import our data, and we need to find our data source. Our data source is global superstore data set. Let's select our data source, and once we select our data source, a navigator pane will open. Power BI will make connection with that data source, and after making connection with that data source, we will see this navigator pane will open. Now this navigator pane will show us all the worksheet names available in our data source. Order details, product table, customer table, date and sales representative. So these are the different worksheets given. These are the names given. So we are going to see all these names in navigator pane. We don't see any preview here because we have not selected any table. Let's just select one by one. So this is the data available in customer table. We can see preview of this data. We can select date, which is just one column. We can select order details. So this will allow us to see preview of all these different data. Now, to load this data, we need to check these boxes. If suppose we want to connect with only these three, then just check these three boxes. But if we want to load this entire data, then check all the boxes, and then we can click load. And once we click load, within few seconds, Power BI will make connection with that file. It will process the queries, and then very soon, within few seconds, we will see our data will be loaded here. We will see all our table names here, and even we will be able to see our field name as well. What is field name? So our Excel data source has these different columns, and each of these columns has these headers or titles. So now let's see in Power BI, it may take few seconds depending on size of our data, that how much time it is going to take to connect with that data source and loading that data in Power BI. So let it load, and once this will be loaded, we will see here all the table name. See, it's almost done. And now we will see those table names here. Look at this. These are the different tables. We can click here to expand this. These are the different columns given in our data source. Order details is the worksheet name, and whatever we are seeing here, these are called as field, and these fields are actually the columns title or headers available in our data source file. So that's how we can connect with our data source. If we need to connect with SQL Server, we can click here, and then we need to provide those details. In the very beginning, most of the steps to connect with the data source is somewhat similar. There are some minor differences. So during this course, we will learn how to connect with different data sources. In this video, we'll learn how to connect with Excel data source. Hey everyone, I have worked pretty hard to create this free full course. I have a small expectation. Please answer all the questions in comments. So we learn about getting data in Power BI. We have loaded data in Power BI, but problem is, so far it looks good. In order details table, all the column headers are visible. But if we check out other tables like customer table, we can see column 1, column 2, column 3. We are not able to recognize these headers. Date table, this is all good, no problem at all. If we expand product table, again, we are not able to recognize these column headers. So it's not that Excel or a data source don't have these headers. Our data source do have headers, but Power BI could not recognize these headers, and these needs to be promoted. There can be some more issues in this data. So this is not a good idea to directly load data in Power BI desktop. Instead, the best practice is to first prepare the data. So how to prepare the data? How to clean and transform the data? We don't clean and transform data directly in Power BI desktop. There is another window where we clean and transform the data. So let's open another Power BI file, a blank Power BI file, and let's connect with the same data source one more time. And this time, we will get to know there are two options given. Instead of directly clicking on load, we are going to select the second option in the navigator pane, transform data. So our new Power BI file has opened. This is blank. There is nothing here, no data. Along with existing Power BI file, we can open another blank Power BI file, like we can open Excel blank file. So let's connect with the same data source one more time, import data from Excel, and we will choose the same data source. Again, the same navigator pane will open after connecting with that data source. So it may take few seconds. So now the navigator pane is open. We are going to select all the table names, and now we can see these two options. Third option is to cancel it out. These two options, if we click on load, this is going to load data directly in Power BI desktop here in data pane, which we don't want. First, we need to clean and transform this data. Now, if we are 100% sure that everything is perfectly fine and there is no cleaning or transformation required, then we can directly click load. Else, we should always click on transform data. Right now, this window is Power BI desktop. We are going to click on transform data, and once we click on transform data, another window will open. Now it is processing the queries, and once the queries will be processed, a new window will open, and name of that new window is Power Query Editor. Now we can see this new window, Power Query Editor. And before we proceed further, let's know what all options are given here and what are the windows or panes given. So left side, this is called as queries pane. Queries is already written here. We don't call these as tables. These are called as queries. This is called as ribbon. These are different tabs whom transform, add column, view tools help. This is data preview pane. We can see data here. Whatever table we will select, whatever query we will select, preview of that data we will see here in data preview pane. And this is called as query setting pane. Query setting pane. So we are going to add cleaning and transformation steps using these different features given within Power Query Editor. We can choose any of these tables and we can see preview of that data. Power BI usage has grown by 48% in last 2 years. Now, let's start with customer query. So customer query, we can say that the first row should be title, but here we can say it is showing us column 1, column 2, column 3. Even in another file where we directly loaded this data, we can see column 1, column 2, column 3. We were not able to recognize headers. So we need to fix this issue. And how to fix this issue? To fix this issue, there is header given in first row, and this first row needs to be promoted. How to promote this? Within Home tab in Power Query Editor, we can use first row as header. If you don't see these options like valid and this, then it is another feature which will be discussed later. So let me uncheck just to avoid confusion. Now, we can see that customer ID is and first name, last name, all this header is given in first row. This needs to be promoted using first row as header. And the moment we click here, we will see header is going to be promoted. We can go to next table, date. It's all good. There's just one column. Order details, no problem at all. Headers are already promoted. Product table. Here we need to fix some issues. Before we fix these issues, let's move to sales representative. Even this query also has headers available in first row, which needs to be promoted. So now we have promoted headers in these two queries. Product table. So why we are seeing these nulls, we will learn that later. We are going to clean and transform this later. Right now, let's just close and apply, and we will say if this action is going to show header name in Power BI desktop or not. Now, how to load this data in Power BI desktop? On left side below file, this option is given. There are three options. One is close. So close means close this Power Query editor. Apply means apply all the changes, but do not close Power Query editor window. Close and apply means close this Power Query editor window and apply all the changes. So according to requirement, we can choose. Usually we prefer to use close and apply. Let's click on close and apply. And once we click on close and apply, data will be loaded in Power BI desktop, and customer table will not show column 1, column 2, column 3. Instead, it is going to show us all the column name. So it may take few seconds depending on size of the data set, how much time it will take in loading. So it's almost done. There are pending changes in queries. So why we see this message here? It is because we made some changes in Power BI, Power Query, and once those changes are applied, then only we will see these. Now we can say there are two files open. One file is this one, where we can see column 1, column 2, column 3. Another file is this one, where we promoted headers. Even in sales representative, we are able to see these headers. So this is the first cleaning and transformation step we applied. Now we will continue learning about more cleaning and transformation in the next video. So we just learned about Power Query Editor. In Power Query Editor, we added our first cleaning and transformation step. So let's understand now what is Power Query Editor. If we have loaded data in Power BI desktop, how to go back to Power Query Editor for further cleaning and transformation. Within Home tab in Power BI desktop, transform data is given. Sometimes we might directly click on load data, and then later we want to add cleaning and transformational steps in our data set. So how we can go to Power Query Editor for cleaning? When we hover our mouse, we can read this instruction. Use the Power Query Editor to connect, prepare, and transform data. Let's click here, and once we click here, Power Query Editor will open. Now, what is Power Query Editor? Power Query Editor is the ETL tool. What is ETL? ETL is extract, transform, and load. That's the full form of ETL. Now, what is extract? Our data was available in one of the data source. We extracted data from there, and now data is available in Power BI. And then here in Power Query Editor, we are going to clean and transform our data. And once the data is transformed, we are going to load this data in Power BI desktop. So this is what ETL is: extract, transform, and load. Why we loaded our data here in Power Query Editor? We may have some duplicates. We may have some unnecessary data which is not going to be utilized. We may have unnecessary columns. We might want to clean up our table name, our column header name. We may have some additional rows, blank rows, or maybe there may be some errors. So we want to add all those cleaning and transformational steps. And to do all those cleaning, we loaded our data in Power Query Editor. In real world, you will not find always a very clean or organized data set. Most of the time, we will have to spend a lot of time in cleaning and transformation. So in data visualization, when we will be working on Power BI, most of our time we will spend on cleaning and transformation. If something goes wrong here, we can expect some unexpected result. So it's very important to clean and transform data, because once data is cleaned and transformed, then only we can expect desirable results. There's over more than 50,000 job openings in Power BI roles in this year. So now let's proceed further and let's discuss about product table. So in product table, we can see these nulls. Now, what are these nulls? Why we are seeing these nulls? These nulls are actually blank cells. Let's open our data source file. This is our data source Excel file, global superstore data set. If we go to product table, everything looks very organized in Excel. But when we load this data in Power BI, then we might not see this as an organized data set. So why we see those nulls? It is because these are some of the blank cells available. Even this is also merged cell. So even Power BI will not recognize any merged cell or merged rows or merged area. It will just see those blanks as null value. If we delete these values from here, from this data set, then everywhere Power BI will show us as null. So the blank cells in our data source are going to be seen as null value. Now we have to deal with those because they are going to interfere in visualization. Let's go back to Power BI desktop. And from here, Power Query Editor. Let's delete these useless rows. So these top two useless rows, which has null values, and then third row has header. So we need to promote these headers. Now, two transformational steps. One is we need to first delete these useless rows, and then we need to promote this header. So this feature within Home tab is given remove rows. Let me click here. And once we click here, this menu will appear wherein we have multiple options. We can remove top rows. We can remove bottom rows. We can remove alternate rows. Even we can remove duplicates. We can remove even blank rows as well. And if there is any error, we can remove those as well. Sometimes there are some additional notes given. For example, when we get data from someone, below data set, below tables, there are some notes given. All data source is given in our data source file or Excel file. Those bottom rows needs to be removed. Sometimes there may be multiple blank rows in between. Right now, we can see there are only top two rows which has null values, but sometimes there may be multiple blank rows. So we can remove all those blank rows. Sometimes we are going to add some calculations directly in Power Query Editor. And if there are any errors, or when we get data from a source and there are some errors, those errors can be removed. So this is the menu. According to this data set, what is a requirement? A requirement is we want to remove these top two useless rows. And for that, we are going to use the very first option, remove top rows. And once we click on remove top rows, this dialog box will appear wherein we need to specify how many rows to remove from top. We need to remove top two rows. We can see 1 and 2. These are the top useless rows which can be removed. So let's mention those number of rows here and then we can click OK. This is going to remove those rows. Now we need to observe here on applied steps. Whatever steps we are going to add, those steps are going to be stated here. For example, we just remove these top rows and this is available here. At any point of time we want to delete, we can delete it. Now the next transformational step is we want to promote header, which is available in this row. Let's use first row as header. And once we do this, now we can see our table has proper headers and there is no null value. We can use these scrollers to scroll towards right and to scroll down. So this will allow us to see the data. So we have started cleaning and transformation. Power Query Editor helps us in cleaning and transformation. Now let's do some more cleaning. We just saw how to promote headers or how to use first row as header. Now how to change table name, how to rename a column. So let's learn these two, cleaning and transformation. So customer table. So table, we want to correct this name. Table is not a good name. Like this is not any value. It's always a best practice, a good idea to use descriptive name for tables if any abbreviated names are used. So there are two ways. Either we can simply double click and now we can see this is an edit mode, or we can also edit table name or query name from here. Let's just remove this part. This is customer query. Date, this is all fine. Order details, this is a sales table. So let's rename it as sales details. Then product table, we need to remove this table part and just hit enter. Finally, sales representative table, we can remove this. We have claimed or we've added better names. We have removed any additional names given along with our queries. Now, how we can rename our headers or title? For example, sales details. So sales details, this is customer ID, this is order ID, this is market. So these titles are given here. If we need to rename any of these, we need to simply double click here. For example, this is unit sold. Quantity is unit sold. We can replace it with unit sold. These are number of the units sold. So we can rename a column. Simply double click and rename that column. If we don't want to use this step at any point of time, we feel like, no, this was not a correct step, we need to delete this step. We can cross it out. And once we cross it out, we can see the original result. Similarly, in all the tables, we can see applied steps are added. Some of these steps are added by Power BI automatically. Some of these steps which we added, all those are recorded in applied steps. So this is like undo. We can undo, but for redo, we have to do it manually. Once we have deleted those last steps, we have to perform those steps manually. So undo is allowed, but redo is not allowed in Power Query Editor. And we won't be able to use those keyboard shortcuts, which usually we can use in Excel or PowerPoint. Now let's understand why we are seeing these change type in almost every query. Even if we have not made any changes, we will see this change type. So what is this change type? Let's go to date query. We have not made any changes, but still they say change type, sales details. We haven't made any changes here. Even we are seeing change type. Now what is this change type? Let's see this in presentation. So data type, there are different data types available. For example, date, time, or text, numeric numbers. There are so many different data categories are available. Now, Power BI will make sure that it will check all the query and it will correct all the data type. 98% of the time, data type will be corrected by Power BI. So if we go to Power BI, we can see that almost every column has these data type A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. If we scroll towards right, we will see date icon. If it's a numeric number, we will see 1, 2, 3. So what are these? These are actually the data type. And this data type is according to the values available. For example, this column has all the text value. And because this column has all the text value, so this is updated as text data type. ABC text data type. If we scroll towards right and we see numeric number, it's a whole number. So data type is updated as whole number. If it's a date, we will say date icon. So Power BI will correct all the data type automatically, but sometimes we have to change it manually. Now, usually we don't delete this step, but by mistake, if we cross out this step or if we will ever see ABC123, there is no such data type. If you will ever see this kind of ABC123 data type, it means that Power BI is not able to recognize data type or correct the data type. We have to correct it. So how can we correct? One way, we can correct it one by one. For example, this column market is all the text value. We can select text. So only for this one column, data type is corrected. But we have so many columns. Number of the columns are almost 20 columns. Are we going to update this one by one? No need. We can select first column. We can use some keyboard shortcuts can be used here. We can use Control A to select all the columns. And then we can go to transform tab. From there, we can detect the data type. Instead, we change the data type manually. We can select all the columns and data type will be corrected. So now we can say once we click on detect data type, all the columns are updated with correct data type. And we will observe ABC 1, 2, 3, especially when we will add conditional column or custom columns. When we add those columns or column from example, we might observe ABC 1, 2, 3. And for those columns, we have to update data type, which we will see very soon in our other video. So the next topic is how to split column values. If suppose we have some values which needs to be splitted into multiple columns, how can we do that in Power Query? That's again a part of cleaning and transformation. For example, sometimes we are given with some addresses. In this case, currently we have been given city, state, and country in same column, but sometimes you will observe that we have received addresses. And those addresses are available in same column, city, state, address, everything is given in same column, and they're separated with some delimiter or separator. What is a delimiter? Delimiter is separator, which is separating the text. For example, here, this backslash is separating this text. Now, how to split this? Either we can right click and we can use this feature, split column. We can split column using multiple methods, by delimiter, by number of characters, by positions, by lowercase to uppercase, uppercase to lowercase, by digit to non-digit, and non-digit to digit. So these are different ways we can split column. So now here, city, state, and country, everything is given in same column and it is separated by a backslash. We can also use the split column feature available within Home tab. Let's click here. And let's select the very first option because we already have a delimiter and this can be used to split this text. Let's click on by delimiter. Now, Power BI will understand what is the delimiter here. It is recognizing backslash is the delimiter. If we want, we can customize it. If it's a comma, if it's a equal to sign, semicolon, space, tab, or we can even customize it. As of now, we don't have to change it because Power Query is recognizing this correctly. Let's click OK. Now, before we click OK, there are three options given. We can split at leftmost delimiter, which means city and then slash and then our state. So this is the leftmost delimiter given. So if we choose this, then Power Query will split only city and state country is still intact. It is not splitted. Let's cross it out. If we will select the second option, which is rightmost, means keep city and state together, only split country because this is a rightmost delimiter. We have selected rightmost delimiter. Let's click here. And now we can say country is splitted, city and state is still joined together. Let's cross these two steps again. We want to split from each occurrences. There are two occurrences and Power BI is going to be splitted from each occurrences if we split it from here. Now we can see city in a different column, state in a different column, and country in a different column. Names needs to be changed. How to rename column name? Simply double click and this can be renamed or replaced. Let's correct all these names. This is our state and this column has our country information. So we have updated all the column headers. This is how we can split column. Power BI professionals earn an average salary of 8 to 15 lakhs per annum. In India, with some experience, it can go upwards up to 24 LPA. If suppose we need to join column or even split has also few more options. Let me duplicate this column because we don't want to perform this cleaning and transformation or split on our original column. Let's duplicate this column. Now, if suppose we need to split by number of character. Now, how many number of character we can mention? So, 2 characters, we can see we have 2 character. Once as far as left possible, we can choose this and then click OK. So, now we have split it only first two characters. Let's cross this out. We do have some more options. Now you can see original column as is. We can also split it by position. Now we need to mention by which position. Let's say we want to mention from third position onwards. Now you can see it is splitted. So that's how we can use these different options to split a column. What if we need to merge? We just learn how to split, but what if we need to merge columns? For example, we can see first name and last name. These two are given in two different columns. This is actually customer name, and customer name needs to be given in same column, but there are two different columns given. So let's just select both the columns. We will not see merge column feature if we have selected just one column. Let's right click and we will not see any merge column feature because we need to set minimum two columns. Then only we will be able to merge these two columns. So hold down control key and select last name. Then right click. Now we can see merge columns feature. Very important point to note. If we select last name first and then first name, it is going to join last name first because Power Query will remember all the steps. If we select last name first, then it is going to join last name first. So make sure we select first name first, hold on control key and then select last name, right click, click merge column. Now we need to choose separator or delimiter. How we write a name? First name space last name. So we need to provide a separator. We want to use space as a separator between these two texts. A new column is going to be generated. Name of that new column we can give here. Instead, we add a new step. We can rename our column here itself. So let's say this is customer name. And now click OK. So this is going to generate one column, customer name. Now we don't have first name or last name. So if suppose, let's say you want to keep your original column as is, and you also want to join first name, last name. In that case, we should duplicate those columns. Duplicate first name, last name, and then we can join those columns. So that's how we can join columns or merge column. Now, next is we want to know how we can extract. If suppose we need to extract a string, part of our text, how can we extract? So for extract, this feature is given within transform tab, and from here we can extract. So length or the first character or last character or range or text before delimiter or text after delimiter. So here we can say even sometimes we may have multiple delimiter. Suppose we need text before delimiter, we only need these initials, or maybe we need text after delimiter. We can decide. So let's go with this option, text before delimiter. So our delimiter is this. Let's click OK, and it is going to split it from here. Now we left with only this extracted part, though we don't need it. We are going to use our original column. It's not a good idea to use those original columns which we might need in data modeling. So we are going to use this customer ID in data modeling. Data modeling concept we will learn soon, but make sure that you should not perform any such cleaning and transformation steps on original keys, unique keys, or any kind of ID given or keys given. So don't perform actions on those. Instead, duplicate that column and then we can perform these steps. So these are the different ways to split column, to merge column, or extract text when we have to manipulate the data. These are some manipulating features. Now let's learn about how to clean the data, how to transform the data in terms of optimizing it. So if suppose there are any unnecessary columns or unnecessary rows that needs to be removed so that we can improve the performance, because Power BI engine, Power Query engine will work, and those engine will have to process more queries. So better way, use only that much data which is required. Any table which is not useful should be deleted. any number of columns which we know that we are not going to use anywhere in visualization or analysis. We should remove those columns, and any number of rows we know that we are not going to use anywhere in visualization. Instead of getting entire world data when we know our focus is only Asia, we can load only Asian data or a data specific to a country or specific to a category, division, department. So we don't have to load this entire data in Power BI desktop. Instead, we can filter out rows. Now let's learn how to remove those unnecessary columns, how to move columns on left side, right side, or how we can make a duplicate that we have already seen. But let's see how to remove those duplicates in case there are any duplicates available in a table. So let's go back to Power BI once again. And now, how to move columns. If suppose there are so many columns, for example, sales details query has more than 20 columns. And how to see how many number of columns are there here? We have 20 columns. Now, we don't have to load this entire 20 columns in Power BI desktop for visualization when we are sure that we are not going to use any column. For example, let's say ship mode, we're not going to use, simply remove that. If we want to keep, let's say, only these few columns, we can select those, right click, and we can either remove these columns or we can remove other columns. So this is going to remove all other columns. Now we left with only these 3 columns. So we definitely need other columns. So let's remove this last step. Just for the sake of seeing, I deleted it, but now we need actually all these columns. So I have deleted that last step. How to move columns? Suppose we need to move a particular column. For example, here we can see business type. Now business type we want to move. So we can move it using left click of our mouse, or we can also move it, we reordered. So let's just remove this. Instead, we can also find this option given wherein we can move column from left to right or right to left. So we can select that particular column. For example, maybe order date. Do you want to move it to the left side or right side, or to the beginning or to the end? We can go to transform tab. Within transform tab, move feature is given. And when we click on this small drop down, this will allow us to move. For example, we want to move this onto left side or maybe on right side. Let's click on right side. So now this column has moved to right side. Let's remove this step. We want to move this to the very beginning of this entire table. Now this is first table order priority. We can see, let's cross it out. So we can move columns if we need to. Now, if suppose we know that our focus is only on effect, we don't want to visualize entire world data, our focus is only on effect, then we can filter out. By selecting effect, we will load only data related to effect market. This will filter out rows. So it's a good idea to filter out rows to reduce number of rows which we will load in Power BI desktop, and that will increase size of our model, and that will also process many queries at one point of time. Now, what it means, we will see this in detail later. Processing of queries, we'll see that later. So let's cross this out. Now, do you have any question related to career path? Please contact us on below mentioned number. Our experts will guide you. Let's understand, if suppose there are some issues in data, there can be some blanks, there can be a lot of duplicates, there can be some errors in data. There's so many tables. How we are going to check out those errors or blanks? We cannot see one by one. There are so many columns, so many queries available. So there is a dedicated feature available, which is view. Within view tab, we have data preview feature. So this data preview feature can be used. So we have here column quality and column distribution. So column quality will allow us to see quality of values in a column. How many values are 100% valid? We can see in this column, all are 100% valid. Error, there is no error. Empty, there is no empty. Row. We can go to product table, and when we connected with this data source, there were some blank rows. Now we can see I've selected a previous step, and by this step, those rows were not deleted. Later, it was deleted. Now, you can see that it is 100% valid, but in previous steps, if we say less than 1% values are empty. So, using this feature column quality, we can see quality of values in a column. Now, we can also check out distribution of values in a column. For example, when we check this box, column distribution, it will allow us to see how many values are distinct, how many values are unique. So, if we go to sales query, now we can see how many are distinct. Now, what is distinct? Distinct includes even if any value which is appearing multiple times, 5 times or 10 times, that is going to be counted just once. And if any single value which is available, that is also going to be counted as one. Whereas unique means only single entries. Distinct includes both distinct value as well as unique values, whereas unique includes only single entries. There should not be any multiple entries. If there is just one single name, that is going to be part of unique entries. So this feature is really helpful. Now, if suppose we will get to know that there are blanks, there are many blanks in between, then we can remove those blanks using this feature from Home tab. We can remove duplicates in case there are any duplicates. We can remove those rows. We can also remove those rows where there are errors. So this feature will allow us to do these kind of cleanings. Now, let's discuss column profile. Next feature we have is column profile. So what is the use of column profile? Column profile will give us profiling of a column. For example, if we select market, now we can see these are the markets. If we select region, so we will get distribution of values. If I select customer ID, we can say this is the value distribution, and on left side we can see column statistics. Let's select sales. So once we select sales, we can see distribution of values, count of the number of rows, and then how many distinct, how many unique, what is the maximum sales, what is the minimum sales, average sales, and then other information. Now, if we go to our data source, which has more than 100,000 rows, let's open our data source. Why we are seeing only 1,000 count here? It is because here we can see column profiling based on 1,000 rows. Actually, we have more than 1,000 rows. We can open our data source and we can see, just select any column and we can see count of rows. Count of rows is more than 100,000, 1 lakh rows. So if data available is for 1 lakh rows or 100,000 rows, then why Power BI is showing hardly 1,000 count? It is because this profiling of column is done based on top 1,000 rows. This can be changed by just simply clicking left click of mouse. See, column profiling based on entire data set. Once we select this, then we will see entire data. Number of rows will be approximately 100,000 or 1 lakh. See, this is taking time. This is the reason, because profiling of more number of rows will take more time. But profiling based on top 1,000 rows will take less time. See, this is the count of rows available in our data source. Now, this column profiling is based on entire data set. We can select country. Now, country column will show all the countries, and again, it is taking so much time. When we were seeing profiling based on 1,000, it was showing results very quickly, but now it is taking more time. And this is the reason why we should not change this option, because this is based on this assumption that even after 1,000 rows, output will be same or data will be same or information will be same in that particular column. If it's a country column, after 1,000 rows, information will be remain same. Country information will be available after 1,000 rows. Now look at this. We can see value distribution, and one of the use case of column profiling is that we can see here all the names available in this column, all the unique values. If there are any spelling mistakes or if there are any duplicates, for example, United States and US, we know it's a duplicate. United States and US is same. So suppose multiple people are recording this data. Somebody is using United States to record this data. Somebody is using US. Somebody is using USA. We know that all these are same countries. But when we will do visualization, we'll get multiple results for the same country, which is not a good visualization. So we need to fix this issue. So this is one of the use case. Even spelling mistake can also show us multiple results. Now, to see such issues, we can use column profiling. We can use column profile feature. Now, let's replace either United States with US or US with United States so that we will see just one country, not multiple countries with the same name. We can make this user-friendly replacement by simply right-clicking on that column and then we can click on replace value. Now, we need to find that value. What is that value? That value is United States. Make sure we will use exactly same case because Power BI and Power Query is case sensitive. We want to replace United States with US and let's click OK. And the moment we change this, now we will see US just once. So let's select this column one more time. After making this user-friendly replacement, we will see only one US. We will not see two countries as United States and US the way it was showing previously. So once this operation will be done, we will see one country. So let's just wait. It is still loading. It is taking so much time. Now look at this. We have changed. We have replaced that value. So this needs to be fixed. If there is any such issue that needs to be fixed, let's change this column profiling based on 1000 rows only because then it will take less time. Similarly, if we will select any other column, any numeric column, so this shows the distribution of values. What is the minimum quantity sold? What is the maximum quantity sold? And then we have few more options given. For example, monospace. This is basically for spacing. Next is white space. Now, what is this white space? Show white space. Right now, we don't see any white space. White space is any leading space. So, even space is also a character. Once we check this box, then only we can see that there are some leading spaces. So we have to even clean up this as well because this is going to interfere in visualization. If we want to use these email IDs somewhere, then these leading spaces will also act as a character. So this needs to be fixed. And how to fix this? To fix this, we can trim these spaces. And to trim these spaces, either we can right click and then we can click on trim. So this is going to remove all the leading spaces, or we can also go to transform tab and from there we can trim it from here, format and then trim. The format will also allow us to use other features like if suppose we need everything in lowercase, we can change this text into lowercase text. If we want to format it as uppercase, now we can say this entire information is in uppercase. Sometimes we want to capitalize only first word, NR, A is capital, this is capital, this is capital. So let's just remove these last steps. We just wanted to trim white spaces. So that's the use of data preview feature, very amazing feature. Usually in some BI tools, we have to do it manually, but in Power BI, we can see these problems very easily. Now, before we proceed further, it's a good idea to save our work. So far, we have not saved our work. It's still an untitled document. It's not saved. If your system will crash or by mistake, you will close this. This is not saved. You will lose your entire work. It's a good idea to save your work. So either we can click on save button here or we can save or save as. And then wherever we want to save, for example, we want to save it on our DataFlair folder. This is our training file. Now look at the extension. So file type is going to be PBIX. That is going to be the file type, Power BI. Let's save it. And once we save it, we need to apply these changes. If we want, we can apply changes later, but we would like to apply changes now because we have made so many changes and we don't want any changes should be pending. So let's apply. It may take few seconds, and within few seconds we will see this name will be changed and we will see our file name. So let it load and let it save. And once it is saved, it can be opened like any other normal document, any PDF, any Word, any PPT, Excel file. The way you open, we can open even this document as well. Now let's learn about group by feature. So what is group by feature? In Power Query Editor, we can create summary report using group by. So sometimes we have to use a particular field, and based on that one particular field, we want to create a summary report. For example, let's see this in Power Query. So in our sales table query, sales detailed query, we can see that there are multiple fields given. We have market, and market is repeating multiple times. Similarly, vision is given. Now, we can see that US, Append, and all these markets are repeating multiple times because individual records are stored as rows. We want to create a summary report based on market, based on city, based on countries. So how to create it? So we can create a summary report using group by feature. Group by feature is given here within Form tab in Power Query Editor. It's also given within Transform. Now, it's a good idea to first duplicate this query because we are going to lose other columns. We are going to miss out other columns. So let's first duplicate this. How to duplicate a query? Simply right click and we can duplicate this query. So why we are duplicating this? We will get to know very soon because we will lose other columns. We will keep only those relevant columns. Other columns are going to be removed from the table. So better we duplicate it and then perform our actions on the duplicated table. So now we can see this is our sales details query. We want to create a summary report based on market. Now let's just select market and then we can choose group by feature. Now a dialog box will appear. There are two types of aggregations which are possible using group by features. One is basic. Market is already selected. We can see market column was selected. So that's why market is already selected. But if suppose we want to choose any other column, then we can select that column from here. Right now, we don't have to change this because we wanted to create summary report based on market. So let's just keep it as is. Now, a new column is going to be generated. We can rename that column. Name of this column should be total sales. Now, we don't want to count rows. That's the operation, but this can be changed. We can change this operation from count rows to sum or average, median, minimum, maximum, etc. So our requirement is to use sum. Sum of what? Sum of sales. So we can choose sales and then simply click OK. This is going to create a summary report very soon. Within few seconds, we will see this updated result wherein we will see unique list of all the products and we can see total sales by each market. So those individual records are aggregated. So this is the reason now we can see there is no other columns available. All other columns are removed. If suppose, let's say, we want to include some more aggregated columns like total sales, total profit, and then we also want to include how many number of units sold. So is it possible to delete this last step? Yes, we can cross it out. Or is it possible to edit this existing step? Answer is yes. We can see this setting button or this gear icon. We can click here. And once we click here, this will allow us to make changes. We can go with advanced option and then we can add aggregation. So advanced option will allow us to add more number of aggregations. We also want to include total profit in our existing summary report. We want sum of profit. We also want to know what are the number of units sold by each market. So let's rename this as unit sold. Again, we need sum of what? Sum of quantity, and let's click OK. So now this is going to edit our existing query, and now we will get market wise total sales, total profit, and unit sold. We can rename this query if we want to. This is our market summary. So let's rename this. So that's how we can use group by feature. We can duplicate the query and we can create a summary report. Now, even non-tech people can get job in Power BI. Let's see if we have more tech audience or non-tech audience, please comment. Now, it's suppose we want to add some columns, conditional column. Is it possible to add? We have added a table, a query. Can we add even conditional columns or columns? Yes, we can do that. We can go to add column and we can add columns. We can add conditional columns. We can even add custom columns. Even we can add column from example. For example, let's start with date column. We've already added this. If suppose we want to add month column, we want to add month name column, etc., we can do that. Let's just remove the last step. So in case, let's say we have been given just one single column wherein we have only date, is it possible to add year because we want to slice and dice our data based on year? Yes, we can do that. We can go to add column. Within add column, we have this date field. We can hover our mouse and we can see we can add year, start of the year or end of the year. Even we can add month, start of the month, end of the month, days, etc. So let's add year. Now we can say this is grayed out. Let's select date again. Why this is grayed out? Because we need to provide a date reference, but right now year is selected. So let's select date again. Let's add month. If we want to add month in a numeric format, select date again. We can add even name of the month. We can add even number of the days or end of the month. We can add weekday name as well. So all these by just one click, and now we can see that we've added these columns. We can even add calculated column, conditional column, custom column. We will learn that in next video. So even we can also add these date field using transform. So let's just duplicate this before we add conditional column and other columns. Let's just duplicate this column and let's see what is the difference between date given here and date given within transform tab. So transform tab will allow us to transform within the same column. Now we can see that when we selected year using transform tab, changes are happening within the same column. Let's observe it one more time. So this is a duplicated column. This is a copied column. And if we want to extract, let's say, name of the month will be updated in the same column. It is not going to add a new column. If we do the same thing using add column, so add column will allow us to add a new column. For example, let's add year. So it is going to add a new column. So this is the difference. Features given within transform tab. We do have date here. Even add column also has date column. How to add a conditional column? To add a conditional column, we can go to add column within Power Query Editor and then we can choose a column. Suppose we want to create a conditional column. A condition is based on sales column. If sales value is greater than 100, then it's a high sales, else it's a low sales. So we need to generate a new column and a condition. Why we are saying conditional column? It is because we want to add a column which is based on condition. What is that condition? Condition is based on sales value. So let's add this new column by clicking on conditional column. And this dialog box will appear wherein we need to mention what is the name of this newly generated column. So we want to create low or high sales column. We will select our column name if, what is the column name? Column name is if sales value is equals to or does not equal greater than, we can choose a field from here. If sales value is greater than or equal to 100, then it's a high sales. We can mention here high sales, else we want to mention low. So we don't want to add any clause here. Let's just add either it is high sales if value is greater than or equal to 100, else it's a low sales. Now we can click OK. And this is going to add a new column, and we can see that data type is ABC123, and we know that there is no such data type. We have to correct this data type. So how to correct this data type? Simply click here and we can correct the data type. If suppose we want to add a middle condition, so our middle condition is, suppose we want to add a medium sales. We have low sales, we have high sales, but we also want to add medium sales. So to add medium sales, we can include by clicking on this gear icon. So let's just click on this gear icon, and this will allow us to add a middle condition. So now let's add our middle condition by adding a clause. So we want to check, this time a criteria has changed. If value is greater than equal to 300, then it's a high sales. Else if sales is, we need to select the sales column again. If sales is greater than or equal to 100, then it's a medium sales. We can mention here medium sales. Else low sales, let's click OK. And now this is going to modify this. So once we modify this, now we have medium sales. Now we can see if sales value is less than 100, it's a low sales. If sales value is between 100 and 300, then it's a medium sales. Else we can scroll down and we can check out, we will find even high sales as well. So that's how we can add conditional column, and we can click here, we can see if all the three parameters are added or not: high sales, low sales, medium sales. We can use this filter to apply filter if we are looking for only high sales or low sales or medium sales. Now similarly, even we can add column from example. Now as this name suggests, column from example, it means that based on an example we can add a column. So for example, let's choose customer query. Now we want to join, though we have merge column feature, we want to join city, state, country, or maybe we have a different requirement wherein we want to select customer name and then we want to include even country. Along with customer name, we want to add country. So let's just select these two columns. By holding down Control key, we can select two columns. I've selected customer name and I've selected country column. Now we can choose column from example. Either we can click on from all columns. We don't want from all columns. We have selected two columns, and from these two selections, we want to create a new column. Now we can enter here in the very first cell, we have to enter customer name. So customer name is this. Let's just type in correctly. Make sure we will not make any spelling mistake. And then we can use a delimiter, and then we can mention country name. So country name is Afghanistan. So let's just click here. After this delimiter, we can mention country name. And again, make sure there is no spelling mistake. So, and let's click OK. So now you can see that we've added a column, new column, wherein we have our customer name, and then we are using a delimiter and then country name. So now we can rename it as customer name dash country. So we have selected here two columns, and based on those two columns, we created this new column using those selected column. So that's how we can add column from example. Sometimes we need to add even index column as well. Now this is not an index column. This is by default 1, 2, 3. This is by default given in Power Query. We want to explicitly add an index column. Is it possible to add index column or serial number? We can do that using index column. Do you want to start from 0? Do you want to start from 1? Let's just choose from 1. And now we want to shift this in the beginning, so we can move this column from here to here. Either we can move it manually, or we can also use move feature available within ribbon. So this will allow us to move. Now let's just rename this. This is our serial number. So that's how we can add index column, and we can add other columns. Now let's learn about pivot and unpivot. So what is pivot? Pivot is when we want to change the layout. So if our data is available, let's say in a vertical format, and we want to change the layout from vertical to horizontal, it's called pivot. And when we want to change horizontal layout to vertical layout, that's called unpivot. So let's learn both these features in Power BI. Sometimes this is really helpful. Let's use a new data set wherein we are going to connect with this data set, pivot and unpivot. So this is the data set. Let's just choose our data source, click on open, and now we are going to get this data in Power BI. We need to select the worksheet name from navigator pane. Let's choose both, and then we need to click on transform data so that we will load this data in Power Query editor, where we are going to use pivot and unpivot feature. So let it load. Let's first see what is the data in the data preview in Power Query editor. So this is a simple data, and we want to format this data. So one query we have is this one, wherein we have data available as a one column is year, another column is month, and the third one is sales column. So what exactly we want? Now we can see year is repeating, month is also repeating, 2017, and then new year is starting, and then months are repeating. So what we want to convert this vertical layout into horizontal layout. Means we want unique list of years, and then month. For each month there should be one column. Jan month, one column. Feb month, another column. March month, another column. So we want to convert this vertical layout to horizontal layout, and for that we are going to choose this month column. Then we can go to transform tab. Within transform tab we can see pivot column. Let's just choose pivot column. Now when we pivot column, when new columns are going to be generated, then sales value should be adjusted according to new column created. So we will change from year to sales, because sales value should be adjusted according to the newly created month columns. So that's why we have selected here sales, and then let's click OK. And once we click OK, we can say 2017, 18, 19 and 20. These years are not repeating, and months columns are created, and sales is adjusted accordingly. So this is called pivot column. Now what is unpivot? Unpivot is vice versa of this. When data is available horizontally, for example, data is available in months in a horizontal format, and we want to convert this into a vertical format. So I've selected all the month column. Now we can choose unpivot columns. We can see pivot column is grayed out because these columns cannot be pivoted, but we can unpivot. So unpivot is the vice versa of pivot. Now we can see that horizontal format has been converted into a vertical format. Let's see another example of pivot. So now we can see that there are so many brands given. Let's promote header. These are the brand name and these are the product name. So these different companies are manufacturing these different products. We want to create a summary report. How many products are created or manufactured by each of these brands? So we can pivot these columns. Let's just choose product name. By default, product name is already selected. So now we can say Contoso is manufacturing 710. Then the next brand is manufacturing these many products. So this is how we can change layout. Pivot and unpivot will be really helpful, especially when we have a data wherein we want to change the layout from vertical to horizontal and horizontal to vertical. In that case, we can use pivot and unpivot column. So especially we use a pivot column when we want to create a summary report. For example, if we cross it out, now we can see that we have individual values. Now, these individual values, it is difficult to count one by one. So instead of counting this, we want to create a summary report. So when we create a summary report, basically we are also going to convert this vertical layout into horizontal layout. So let's just pivot this column. And once we pivot this column, by each brand name, a new column is generated. And we also have count of products which are manufactured by each of these brands. So this is the use of pivot and unpivot column. So when we have a data wherein very huge lot of data is given and we want that lot of duplicated value given and we just want count, we can use pivot column. But sometimes we have data available which is scattered across the multiple columns and we want to convert that those number of multiple columns given into multiple columns. We just want one single column. We can use unpivot column. Now let's understand what is appending of the table and what is merging. So appending is when we want to stack rows one below the other. So suppose data is available in multiple worksheets and we want to combine the data from multiple worksheet into one single table, we can use appending feature wherein we want to add all the rows one below the other. What about merge? Merge is when we want to merge two tables side by side. Appending and merging. What is the difference? Appending is when we stack rows one below the other, whereas merging is when we join a table side by side. Let's understand these two features in Power BI. Let's connect with a new data source. So we are going to use this data source, which has multiple worksheets with different movie names. So let me show you the data first in Excel worksheet. Why we are seeing so many tables? Why we are seeing so many worksheets and table name? So let's see our data. This is the data. Now in this data, we have multiple worksheets. We can see we have top 200 movies names available in this worksheet. And then top 201 to 400 movies are given here. Top 401 to 600 movies names are given here. And then finally, these are the different worksheets given. Now, our client is, let's say, from an entertainment industry and they want us to append this data. We need to visualize this data. Before visualizing this data, we have to first append it. Append means this top 200 movies below this data. This data should come below that data. This entire top 1 till 1000 movies, all movies should be available in one single worksheet. And then once we have this, then we want to add this rating. This IMDb rating worksheet is given separately. Now we can see that in our data source, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 worksheets are given. But if we go to Power BI Navigator pane is showing us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is double. Number is double. In our data, there are 6 worksheets, but Navigator pane is showing 12. So why we see these and we can see these different icons. This icon is different and this icon is different. So what are we seeing here? Every range, this is a normal range. This is a table. Why we see it's a typical Excel table? It is because the data has been formatted as table. So we can see this feature here, format as table. If we will convert any normal range data into a table, let me just copy this data and let's open a new worksheet wherein I'm going to paste this data. So this is a simple data. There is no table. This is not a typical Excel table. Let me change colors and everything to make it normal. So let's say this is a simple data set. We don't call this as a typical Excel table because this is called as normal range. Now, how you will recognize if it's a table or it's a normal range? If you select any cell, we don't see any contextual tab. Whereas the other data set, if we select any cell, we can see this contextual tab, table design and query. So this table design contextual tab will only appear once we will convert our normal range into table. So let me show you in this data set, this is not formatted as a table and we don't see any table design contextual tab. So first, let me show you how to format this. We can select any cell and then we can select any of these designs. Usually, a lot of people use this feature for designing purpose, but this is more than that. Once we format this normal range as table, then only we will see table design. Do you want to get the data sets used in full course? Please ask in comments and I will share the data set with you. Now, every table will have a name. This is sheet name, and every table which is going to be created, a name will be given. By default, table name is table 1, but this name can be changed. We can use a different name. Let's say data. So now this table name is data. Once we select any cell from this table, we can see name of this table. So if we will connect with this data source, we will see two names. One is data, which is the table name, and the other one is sheet name. So why we are seeing these 12 names here? It is because this worksheet has 6 worksheets and it also has 6 tables. And we can see table name here. This is the table name. So we are seeing 6 table names and 6 worksheet names. So it is not a good idea to select all. If we select all, then it is going to be duplication of data. So either we can go with table name or we can go with worksheet name. So let's go with worksheet name. We can choose even table name as well. In this case, doesn't matter if we select table, because on each worksheet, there is only one single table. If there is only one single table, then it's not a problem. But if suppose there are multiple tables, then it's a problem. Then we have to see which table we want to connect in our Power BI report. So right now I'm selecting these 6 worksheets. I'm not selecting these ones. Let's click on transform data. Now first step is we are going to append this data. To append this data, we can use append feature. Now, what is append? Append means we need a query here where all the 1000 top movies should be there. Right now, different query is giving. This query has 200 movies. This query has 201 to 400. This query has 401 to 600. So let's first create a query where we have all 1000 movies named, and then we can add this IMDb rating. So let's just select top 200. And then within Home tab in Power Query Editor, we have this amazing dedicated feature. We can append queries and we can also append queries as new. When we want a new query should be generated, then we can use append queries as new. Else, if we want to append rest of the queries below top 200, then we can go with this one. Right now, let's just choose new because we want to create a new query. Now we need to choose. If we just have 2 tables or more than 2 tables, we can see we just have, we don't have just 2 tables. We have more than 2 tables. So suppose we have just 2 tables, then we can just select the second table. But right now we know that we have more than 3 tables. So we will choose this one. When we have more than 3 tables, we will go with this one. If we just have 2 tables, we can go with this option. So let's choose 3 or more tables. Now, by default, first one is already selected. We don't have to select this again. Let's just select this. Let's add this, then this. Let's add this. After this, we'll add this. And then finally, we will add this also. We are not going to add this. Let's click OK. And once we click OK, a new query will be generated. This query has been generated and this has all 1000 movies named. Now, we have created a appended table where rows are added one below the other. Now, once this is done, we also have top 250 movies rating, IMDb rating, and this column needs to be added within this appended query. So how can we do that? To do that, when we want to join side by side 2 tables, or we want to add columns from a different table, we can go with merge feature. So either we can use merge queries or we can use merge queries as a new. Now, we don't want to generate a new query. Instead, we want to use merge queries. Let me select merge queries. And now we need to select our table 2. This is a primary table, and we need to choose the second table. This is the second table. Now we can see this OK is grayed out. Why this is grayed out? Because we have selected the second table, but we need to highlight the common fields. We need to select the common fields, though title is different, header is different, but the values are similar. So we can highlight those, and then by default, usually left outer is being used. Now, what is join kind in merging? So join kind left outer means all from first record and only matching record from second table. If we choose right outer, it means all from second table. It is already given in this bracket, all from second table, and give only matching records from first. Full outer means give all the records from both. So these are different join kind, but by the default one is left outer. Now we can click OK. And once we click OK, this column here, this table is showing association of this table within this table. Now, to merge this column, we can select, we need to add only IMBD rating. So we will select that column. We don't want to use this name as a prefix. So let's just uncheck this and click OK. And now we will have rating from this list. Now, why we are seeing nulls here? There are so many nulls. If we go to View tab and if we check this box, column quality will show us that 97% values are empty. So why these are empty? It is because this list has 1000 movies list, whereas this query has only 250 movies list. Now, client is saying that we need to visualize only that data where IMBD rating is given. So no point loading this entire 1000 rows for visualization. Instead, we can simply filter it out. Let's just uncheck null and we can select others. It is by default already selected. So just uncheck null. And once we uncheck null, we don't see any null value here. And now we can see total number of rows is 30. It means that only 30 movies are common out of this 1000 list and this 250 movies list. So that's how we can use append queries and merge query. So when to use append? Example, suppose we have monthly data given in different worksheets. We want to combine that data, January month, February month, March month, all this data is given in different worksheets. So we want January on top and then Feb and then March. We can append that data. When to use merge? When, let's say, product information is given in one worksheet, whereas category, subcategory, other information is given in another table, and we want to join it side by side, or we want to add few columns. Then we can use merge queries. Even we can see these icons. Icon shows append rows, merge tables. So that's how we can use append and merge feature for combining data and visualizing a combined consolidated data. Now let me explain how to connect with the folder. We learned about how to append data when data is available within the same document. What if data is available in multiple files? For example, this is the folder sales data. We want to append this data. We have month-wise data. We have January month data, Feb month data, March month data, April month data. But this all entire data is given in different worksheets, different documents, different Excel files. So we want to combine this data. How can we combine this data? Now, in this case, we don't have to connect with these individual files. Instead, we can connect with folder. We can get data, and when we are getting data, we need to use folder as a connection. So this is the data source which we are going to use. Instead of connecting with those individual files, we can directly connect with folder. Now we need to browse the folder path. We need to find the folder path. So our data is available within this folder, datasets. Under datasets, sales append. this is the name of the folder where our data is available, where all our Excel files are available. Let's select this and then we can click OK. Now, we will observe this is the content, this is the name of different worksheets, this is the extension, all these are Excel file. And then we will find one more option. Till now, in our navigator pane, we were seeing load, transform data, and cancel. This time we see one more option, which is combine. And when we click on this drop down, we see two more options: combine and transform data, combine load. Combine load is directly going to load this data in Power BI desktop for visualization, whereas combine and transform data will load this data in Power Query Editor. So this data will be loaded in Power Query Editor because I have selected combine and transform data. This is sheet 1 just for reference. Let's just select OK. And now this data will be combined and this will open Power Query Editor. So it is opening, it is connecting with the file. So now we can see there are many queries which are generated, but now we can see combined data. This data has all the months data, April month, Feb month, June month, and then the entire month's data is available. We can scroll towards right, we can scroll down. Now, if we need to delete any of these columns, for example, this is not adding any value. If we don't need this column, we can simply remove this column. So that's how we can connect with a data source where files are available in a folder. Now, if suppose we need to connect with a individual data source as an Excel file, it's not that if we are connecting with a folder, then we cannot connect with any other data source. If suppose we received one more Excel file, for example, we received here in this folder, data is available only till June month, July month data is available here. We need to simply copy this or we can cut it and we just need to paste this. And once we paste this and once we save our file and refresh it, refresh preview, even July data is also going to be appended. Now later, when we get August month data, we can simply paste that file here, and every month we get this new data, new file, we simply need to paste, and Power BI will automate this process. Power BI will add all those newly updated files rows here in this data set. And even if we have created a Power BI report, it will be updated in that report as well. Now, if suppose we need to directly connect here with a new source, we want to add more data, we can simply connect on new source. Now we are in Power Query Editor. From Power Query Editor, we can click on new source. We can select the source name. This is the source name. Suppose we want to load this data, sales July month, open it, and this Excel data will be loaded here. Let's just check this box and then we can click OK. Now we will see one more query here, which is sheet 1. This sheet 1 has July month data. So we don't have to individually connect with Excel data source. No, we can paste that file in that folder. It is just to explain you that even if you are connected with a data source already, how you can add more data later through a different data source by selecting a different data source. So now finally learn how Power Query give all the outputs, how Power Query works, what is the language behind it. So though we don't have to learn this language, but we should know which language is used by Power Query to perform all the actions. So the name of the language is M language. We also call it as M language. Now you can see this one of the example here. Let will give you this let will allow us to give input, whereas in is the final output. Now, let me show you this in Power BI. If we go to Power BI in Power Query Editor, we can see Advanced Editor. Now, use of this Advanced Editor is to show the details. Whenever we add any of these cleaning and transformation steps, then all those functions will be used by Power Query. And even here also we can say this is the name of the function, table.rename columns. It's a good idea to learn this language after learning Power BI well. It's not that we don't have to learn, it will add value, but this is not the beginner step. We can do it later. At this point of time, let me just quickly show you Advanced Editor. An Advanced Editor will show you all the steps which were applied during cleaning and transformations. And we don't have to edit this. So whatever we did, for example, we promoted headers. And for promoting headers, this was the function which is being used. And then even data type was also corrected. So let will allow us to get the input and the final output is in. Let input in final output. So we can close this. We should not mess up this code, because in case you will edit this, if you don't know how to correct that, then you will struggle and you will see here error. But you should know which language. This is called as mashup language. And the last step, you can see here, last step is renamed column, renamed column. And we can see this is the function name which is being used. So do not even try to edit this as well till the time you're not very comfortable with this M language. Hey, we are planning to launch the next free full course with projects and interview questions. Please tell me in comments which full course do you want next. Now, once we have updated all the cleaning and transformation steps, now we are ready to load this data in Power BI desktop for visualization. Now, before visualization, we need to learn one important concept, and that's data modeling. So let's quickly load this data. And once we load this data will be loaded in Power BI desktop for visualization. And once we load this data, let me introduce these three views available, and then I will introduce data modeling concept. So this, when we hover our mouse, this is called as report view. This is called as table view. Older name, if you are using older version of Power BI, then you might see this as data view. Older name was data view, but now Microsoft has renamed it. New name is table view. And the last one, I'm just hovering my mouse. When we hover our mouse, we can say the last one is model view. So what is the use of these different options, views given? We create a report in report view. We can see detail of our table. Suppose we want to see what's there in customer table, what's there in date table. We can see all those tables here. We can choose that table, and table view will allow us to see detail of that table. Now we can also go to model view. Model view will allow you to see all the tables. These are all independent tables, and we can see some mapping here. We can collapse these, we can expand this. We will talk about this later. We'll learn about properties pane later. Let's just collapse it for the time being. And these are the all tables, and these tables can be resized if we want. If we are not able to see all the table name or all the tables, then we can use this fit to page. And once we click on fit to page, we'll see all the table name. We can also use this zoom to scroll to make it smaller or bigger. We can also move these tables if we want to. Let's move all the tables. There is no relationship between date and other tables, and we'll talk about that later, that why there is no relationship. Let's just move all the tables. Now these are the tables, and there is some linkages. So why we are seeing these linkages? We have not created any linkages or something, then why we are seeing these linkages? So this is called as relationship, which is auto-detected by Power BI. We have not created this relationship. Power BI has auto-detected this relationship. Now let me show you what is the power of these relationship and what is data modeling. Now, data modeling is actually a simple concept, building relationship between independent people. Data modeling includes the process of defining relationships between tables in our data model. Now, if there is no relationship, those are independent tables. But If we create these relationship between these independent tables, one table, one worksheet. If you remember, we are using here Excel as a data source, and we have selected so many tables. Each table has some data, and there are some keys. So there are some IDs which is being used. Now, data modeling is the heart of Power BI report. If something goes wrong here, then we will get unexpected result. So because there is already auto detect relationship feature given in Power BI, that's why this relationship is being built. Now, let me delete this relationship because I want to show you why even we need these relationships. So let me delete this relationship between sales details table and product table. I'm also going to delete relationship between customer table and sales detail. So before we understand what is data modeling and why this is important, let's quickly understand why even we need this concept. So I'm going to create some visuals. Point is not to explain at this point of time how to create visuals. Point is just to show you when we create a visual, then how these relationships matter. So let me create this simple table. In a dedicated module, we will learn how to create these visuals. Right now, I'm just showing you why even we need those relationships. So let me create this one table wherein I'm adding market. We can select this box, and then I'm going to add your sales. If suppose we are not sure where is sales, we can use the search bar. So search bar will allow us to search. So let me add total sales, which is given in our sales table. So sales is given here. And let's select this. We can either check this box or we can also drag it. Size of this font is too small, so let me make it bigger for better visibility. And now we can see everything seems okay in this one table. So this is our table 1. Let me create few more tables. We can copy paste the same visual, and let me replace market, and I'm going to add here, let's say category. So let me add category. This is our second table. So this is showing category wise sales. Let us create one more visual wherein we are going to show gender wise sales. This is going to be our third table. We will replace category with gender. And you will find some issue here. You might have already observed the issue. So what is the issue? Before you figure out the issue, let me even show you the overall sales. So these are 3 tables. And let me add the overall sales. So overall sales is, let's quickly find overall sales. And our total sales is 13 million. Let me change unit. So let's say none, so that we can compare these numbers. Now we can see there is no unit. This is the overall sales. Now, if this is the overall sales, then why we are seeing same numbers overall sales? This market-wise sales visual, this table is showing us correct answer. We expected that we should get market-wise sales, and we are getting market-wise sales. But here, category-wise sales, we are not getting correct answer. Here we can see overall sales is 13 million. But here when we see these numbers category-wise, we expected that when we drag, we should get category-wise sales, but we're not getting that. Instead, we are getting overall sales. And the same problem we can see here as well. In gender-wise sales table, we can see that sales is same for female gender and male gender. Why so? Why we are getting correct answer for this and why we are not getting correct answer for this? Let me show you the reason. The reason is, it is because market and sales both are coming from same table. We can see sales details is the table name. Market is available in sales detail table, and sales column is available in sales details table only. So there is no problem. When data comes from same table, there is no problem. Problem is when we select field from different table. Now I've selected this table. We can see that sales is coming from sales detail table, whereas this category is coming from product table. These are two different tables. So when we choose build from two different tables and when there is no relationship, now the reason, what is the reason here? Reason is because there is no relationship between product table and sales table. This is coming from same table, so there is no problem. We are getting correct answer. But because these two fields are coming from two different table and there is no relationship, this is why we are getting same numbers everywhere. Similarly, gender is coming from customer table and sales is coming from our sales table. So when there is no relationship, we will see same numbers everywhere. Even if we create a column chart, let me create a column chart or a bar chart, we will see same everywhere. We will see same bar or same column. Why we see this? It is because there is no relationship. So how to build this relationship? Though Power BI will automatically detect the relationship, but in case Power BI is not able to detect that relationship, even we can also create, because we have already deleted that, so we have to create it. Now, how to create relationship? Creating relationship is easy. We just need to find the common keys between the tables. There has to be a common information. There has to be a common ID or key. Then only we can build relationship, else we can't. So let's just drag and drop. How to build relationship? To build relationship, first of all, let's just find common key, customer ID in customer table and sales details, customer ID. So we can see common key here. How to build relationship? By simple drag and drop. Either we can drag customer ID from customer table and drop it here. Let's drag and drop it here. And then we can save this relationship. Or we can also do vice versa. We can drag this key, customer ID, and we can drop onto customer ID available in customer table. Now, let's go to our report view. We can see problem is fixed. Female gender has generated 6.6 million. Male gender has generated 6.5 million. Overall sales is 13 million. So this table looks okay now, but still we can see the same problem with this table because we have not built any relationship between product table and our sales table. So how to build this relationship? Once again, we need to find a common key. We can see product key in our sales details table, and we can also see product key in product table. So just drag and drop, drag key from sales table and drop onto product table, and let's just save it. Let's go back to report view and we can see even category wise sales visual is also giving correct answer. So that's the importance of data modeling. That's the importance of these relationship. If there is no relationship, tables will not filter out. Fields are not filtered out. We will see the same answer everywhere. So there has to be an active relationship between two tables. Then only we can see correct output. If you want additional resources like case study, study material for PL 300, interview question for top MNCs or projects, please ask in comments. I will be happy to share the required resources. So this is basically the heart of Power BI report. If something goes wrong here, then we can expect unexpected result. So this is called model view. This is called data modeling. What is data modeling? Data modeling is building relationship between independent tables, and there has to be a common key. If there is no common key, we cannot build relationship. Now, it is not necessary that all these tables has to come from same source. Not necessary. These tables can come from different sources. For example, one data source can be Excel. Another data source can be SQL. So if suppose some data is coming from Excel, another data is coming from any database like SQL, if there is common key between these tables, which is coming from different sources, we can find the common keys and we can build relationship. So that's why Power BI is so powerful because of this data modeling capability. Power BI can allow us to choose field from different tables, which is not possible in Excel if we are creating pivot table, because we can choose field from only one table. But if we have built this relationship or Power BI has detected this relationship, there are so many tables given here. We can choose field from any of these tables. So this is the benefit of data modeling. This is the use of data modeling concept. And this is the very important concept. Most of the time, we spend our time on cleaning and transformation, Power Query. This is a very critical task. Second one is data modeling. Now, data modeling has two aspects. One is building relationship, which we are learning right now. And there is another aspect of it, which is calculations. So we'll learn that later. There are more technicalities behind data modeling. We need to first learn those concepts, those technicalities. Then only we will be able to fix some of those issues which we may face when we'll be creating our report. So now let's learn about the technicalities of data modeling, because if we will not understand those, we'll keep struggling and we won't be able to solve the problems which we may face in future. So now we can see one here and we can see many here. Why we are seeing this one and many, this kind of star here? What is the significance of this and why we are seeing this kind of direction? So this is one-to-many relationship or many-to-one. And why we are seeing one here and why we are seeing many here? It is because sales table has many instances or many records for the multiple transactions done by same customer or maybe different customers. All the individual records are recorded here. Customer is one, and the customer unique information, customer ID, all the unique information or single entry is available here. Similarly, there is one product table also, which has all the unique entries, but sales table has all the transactions. Same product might have purchased by multiple customers. So let's see this with an example. Let me show you this in table view. So in table view, we can go to customer table and let me filter out one of the customer. So I'm selecting only one customer information, one customer ID, and we can see only one customer is appearing here. Let's go to sales details table. In sales detail table, let's choose the same customer and we will see many entries for this customer. Now, why so many entries? Why so many instances? It is because this customer might have purchased multiple product or maybe same product from different countries. If suppose this person is traveling and this data is for an online retail company, and if this customer is traveling, so this customer ordered this product, multiple product from multiple places on multiple dates, on different dates. You can see 2014, 2012, 2016, 2019. You can take your own example when you started purchasing online. So you're the same customer, but you might have made multiple purchases. So as a customer ID is generated just once. And once you start purchasing multiple products, your sales entry, sales transactions will be available multiple times with that company, with that retailer online company. Let me give you another example. Let me clear this filter. We can clear this filter from here. Let's select one of the product and let's filter out this product from product table. And let's click OK. How many entries available for this product? Just one entry. Name of this product is Contoso 512 MB MP3 player E51 silver. So this is the name of the product. And there is just one entry available in products table. Now let's check out how many entries, how many records are available for this product in our sales table. I've selected sales table now. And let's choose the same product product ID 1, and we can see so many customers have purchased or ordered the same product from multiple places on multiple dates. Let's go to modeling view, and now we can see when I selected the same ID, one of the product key, entry for that one product key is available just once. Whereas when we selected the same product ID or product key and the same customer, we selected from customer table is showing just one entry, product table is showing just one entry, but sales table is showing multiple instances for the product and the customer, because all the sales transactions records are recorded in sales detail table. And why companies do that? Why companies record all the detailed transaction? Because if we have a detailed information, here we can see we have all individual records. What is the sales generated by each customer for each product? So all these informations are recorded along with date. So if suppose we want to roll it up till day level, how much sales generated each day? This sales record can be rolled up till day level. If we want to roll it up till month level, though we have daily sales, we have every transactions, but if we want using some functions, we can roll it up till month level, week level. If we want to compare month on month sales, we want to compare year on year sales, we want to compare quarter on quarter sales or profits. So those kind of calculations or those kind of comparisons, it's a good idea to record all the detailed information. So that's why businesses record all the detailed information. Why they're recording individual customer table or product table? It is because all the businesses wants to retain their best customer. Businesses wants to know who all are their best customers so that they can retain them. They can give them some extra discounts or some buy one get one free, or maybe some additional benefits, so that all the businesses can retain their best customers. Until the time we don't have that record wherein we have all the details of customer, businesses won't be able to find their best customers, their best worst customers, or the customers who are not paying on time, or which all products are selling fast. They need to maintain the inventory. They need to know which all products are selling fast, which all products are in demand, which all products are not favored by the customers. So what is the point keeping those in the inventory? So to do those kind of customer analysis, to do those kind of product analysis, it's important, it's imperative to maintain all these records in the data. So that's why all the businesses record all this information. They keep all these individual records and even detailed data in their sales transactions, so that we can do all kind of sales analysis, profit analysis, or price comparison, or which products are in demand, which products are not available in inventory next day, next week, which all products needs to be filled in inventory. So these are the few reasons why we have so much data, and we are going to visualize this data to figure out many reasons, which all divisions, which all departments, which all countries, cities, states are most profitable or generating highest sales. We want to figure out those questions. We need to answer these questions to our stakeholders, to our businesses, so that businesses can grow. Business will take well-informed decisions based on their own historical data. If you need any help counseling to become job ready, feel free to contact us. Now let's go back to modeling view and let's discuss one more time. If suppose there are many records available in customer table and many records available in sales detail table, then we are going to see many here and many here. That will be many to many relationship. If suppose single entry is available in customer table and single entry is available in sales details table, then that relationship is called as one-to-one relationship. And if, for example, in this case, if there is one instance in one table and multiple instance in another table, then this is going to be a many-to-one relationship. Now, the same key which is available in this table and this table, this is called as primary key, customer ID available in customer table, this is called as primary key, whereas the same key which is available in this table is called as foreign key. Now, this is called as customer table. This is defining our numeric value or transactional value, and this is called as dimension table. Why this relationship is between customer and sales, products and sales details, market and sales details, sales representative to sales details. Why not between customer and products? Why not between date and products? You might be thinking because there is no common key. No, we can add a common key, but still it will not make any sense to build relationship between a dimension and dimension table. Usually, what is the best practice? Best practice is we use a star schema. What is star schema? Star schema is when a dimension table is connected with fact table with one to many relationship. One on dimension table side, many on fact table side. Now, what is a fact table? What is a dimension table? Let's understand it first through our presentation. So, what is star schema? Star schema is when fact table and dimension tables are connected with one side on dimension table and many side on fact table. What is a dimension table? Dimension tables describes the business entities. For example, sales. Who purchased? A customer purchased. So customer table is defining who has purchased. Sales, when sales happen, a transaction happened. So who made that payment? Customer. So customer table is a dimension table. Let's talk about what was purchased. A product was purchased. Now, product table is defining. Product table is describing what was the category, what was the brand, what was the subcategory. So all these details are available within a product table. So product table includes the describing entities of the business, whereas our fact table, which stores observations or events, means sales is an event which is stored in our fact table. Profit is an event, it's a numeric number. Inventory can be event, it's a number, it's a fact which is going to be stored in fact table. So what is a fact table? Which stores mostly numeric number. Dimension table is the describing attribute, who purchased, when it was purchased. Date table will give all the numeric numbers or dates wherein this information will be available when it was purchased, where it is purchased. So if suppose there is a geography table, that geography table or store location, that table will be a dimension table. If there are more such tables where defining or qualitative information is available, then we call it as a dimension table. And it is very imperative to understand this concept to know which one is dimension table and which one is fact table. Sometimes when Power BI won't be able to detect those relationships automatically. For example, we can see that date table, there is no relationship between date table and our sales table. So we have to build this relationship. And if we don't know which one is a fact table, we know this is our dimension table. But if we don't know this is a dimension table, this is a fact table, how we will decide between which tables we are going to build relationship? Because if we will not build relationship, then we won't be able to use field from date table and sales details. We won't be able to create that visual. So this is the reason why we should know this concept of dimension table and fact table. And what is star schema? Star schema is this. It's not because the layout is like a star. No, because dimension table is on one side and fact table is on many sides. Now, you might hear some of the terms like cardinality. What is cardinality? Uniqueness of data values in a column. For example, fact table will have lot of duplicates. Fact table will have duplicate means same product is purchased by many customers. So that product name or product key or product code will be appearing multiple times. So it's not the duplication, but it's just that because multiple customers or multiple from multiple places, the same products is being purchased, so that information is available multiple times. That information is repeating in fact table. So cardinality is uniqueness. Usually, a dimension table has all unique values, whereas our fact table has lot of repetitive values. Now let's understand it very quickly one more time. What is star schema? Star schema is when fact table are transactional values available in our fact table. When fact table is connected with many dimension table through these describing attributes like when the product was purchased, what was purchased, a product was purchased, who purchased, customers purchased, where it was purchased, at a geographication or at any store the product was purchased. So when these describing attributes are surrounding our fact table with one to many side of relationship, that's called star schema. In data modeling, we have snowflake schema also, but we don't prefer snowflake schema. We prefer to use the best practices to use star schema. Snowflake is when dimension to dimension tables are mapped. Dimension table is connected with another dimension table. This will create a long path, and sometimes there can be some ambiguity. So better to avoid snowflake, we should use star schema. Now, let's understand what is managing relationship, how to manage relationship. So we learn how to create relationship, we learn about those technical concepts. Now let's learn how to manage relationship. So managing relationship is sometimes we want to delete relationships, sometimes we want to edit relationships. So how can we do that? Within modeling tab, we have this amazing feature given, manage relationships, add, edit or remove relationship between tables. We can click here and this will allow us to manage relationship. This dialog box will appear. Manage relationship editor will appear. When we click on manage relationship, now this is the table name, sales details table. And this is the field customer ID used to create relationship. We can see many. This is the filter direction. And this is single one entry. This is a fact. This is our fact table and this is our dimension table, customer table. Customer table has customer ID and only one instance. And this is an active relationship. We can click here on these three dots. We can edit this relationship. We can delete this relationship. We can switch to inactive relationship. We will learn about inactive relationship later. But remember, there can be only one active relationship in any model. There can be multiple inactive relationships, but there should be only one active relationship. So if we need to, we want that any relationship should be automatically deducted. We can click here, we can edit, we can delete. As of now, nothing found, no automatic relationship found, but we can also add a new relationship. If we want to, we can select our table one, we can select our another table. We can decide the filter direction and cardinality. Cardinality is if it's, one to many, many to one, one to one. So we can select that. Now let's understand what is this filter direction. This filter direction is important to understand. So filter direction is, let me just delete this one table. I'm going to create one more visual here. Let's delete all these additional tables. Let's just keep this one table. So in this table, we've selected category from product table and sales from sales table. Now let's create this one more time. I'm going to choose another table. Let me copy paste. Let me create this another table. And in this table, let me select market from sales table. And let's remove this sales from here. We can simply cross it out to remove this sales or any field from table. Let me drag product key. So product key is available within our product table. So we are going to add this product table information in this current visual. So let me just add product key, and let's just change this aggregation. We can simply right click. We can change this aggregation. So suppose we want count. Let's click on count. And once we click on count, we will see same numbers everywhere. Why we are seeing same numbers here? Here we're getting category wise sales. Category is coming from product table. Sales is coming from sales table. Market is coming from sales table. But product key is coming from product table. Here we are getting same numbers, count of product. So let's go to table view and let me show you count of rows. So count of rows we can see here 2517. That's the total count of rows available, and we can see the same number here. So we are actually getting the same number. Total number of rows available in product table. We expected that market wise, how many product keys count is available in product table, but we are not getting that. And the reason is because of this filter direction. This filter direction is from product table side to sales table side. So this product table can filter out sales table. Vice versa is not possible. Means from sales table to product, filtering will not happen because filter direction is from product to sales. So because of this filter direction, this is not filtering out. Let me change this direction. Is it possible to change this direction? We can add this to, let's go to properties by right clicking, and we can change this. Instead of single direction, let's make it both, and let's click on save option. And once this is saved, let's just cancel it out. Let's close this window. It's working. And now we can see both directions, which is not a good idea to use because this both filter direction can be misleading. Usually dimension tables are useful for filtering out fact table. So now we have both directions, and now we are getting here correct answer. So Africa, these are the number of the rows available. APEC, these are the number of the rows available. So we are getting count of these. This total is not matching. It is because there are so many entries from the same market. Many products were ordered. Okay. So it's kind of misleading. Not a good idea to use both directions. We try to avoid it. Let's change this property and let's make it single from our dimension table to fact table. This is how we use it. So remember that we use fields from dimension table to filter out our numeric or our facts. But usually we don't do vice versa. We don't choose field from fact table and we don't try to filter out our dimension table. So let's just delete these tables because we are going to learn visualization in a dedicated module. But I hope now the concept of data modeling is clear. And if you've learned this well, then you will be able to solve a lot of problems which you may face in future when you will be working on different data sets. So in single direction, data can flow in one direction only from the table on one side of the relationship to table on many side of relationship. Whereas bidirectional, in a bidirectional relationship, data can flow in both directions between two tables. And usually we kind of, try to avoid this, to avoid misleading the results, to avoid misleading the users. We try to avoid bidirections. Till the time we don't understand these bidirectional relationship, we should avoid that. Let me give you a few examples of one-to-many relationship, many-to-one, how to handle it. So if suppose there is one-to-one relationship, then we can merge that. There are two tables. So we can flatten this table by using merge feature, because one single entry is available in both the tables. So if we want to, we can join both the tables using merge feature in Power Query, which we have already discussed. How to handle many-to-many relationship? So suppose, let me explain it with an example. Suppose we have sales and we have states information given, and there are two tables. Both the tables are giving city or state information. One table may have two states information. Another table may give three states information. Now, because this is many-to-many relationship and the filter direction is both, so this is going to confuse users why this table is giving just two states name, why this table is giving three states name. What's wrong? So it's a good idea not to use many-to-many relationship and bidirections. What is the solution? Solution is we can create another bridge table. We can create a duplicate table and we can add all the states name. For example, if suppose this table has all the states name, then we can duplicate this table and then we will remove all of the columns. We will just keep only states information, because now this one bridge table has all the states information. We will build relationship with both the tables and we will use state from that newly created bridge table to avoid any confusion that why this is giving us two states or why this is giving us three states. So instead, we will get all those three states name using that one bridge table, which will show one-to-many relationship, one on that bridge table side, because there is single entry for states and many entries in these tables, existing tables. So this is how we can handle many-to-many relationship. And there are some other important concepts which you need to practice. So training and practice go hand in hand, guys. Make sure that you will quickly check out all these options. These are some theoretical concepts which are really important to build fundamentals strong, because this is the heart of Power BI report. If everything goes correct here, you will get expected result. Else, if anything goes wrong here, you can expect some unexpected result.
You have made it this far, and now it's time to take a leap towards the success. You have already sharpened your basics with a free full course. But if you are aiming for more, being truly industry ready and securing roles at top companies like Amazon and Adobe with packages between 12 to 18 LPA, then our Job Ready Power BI course is the game changer you have been waiting for. This course is your gateway from the classroom to the corporate world. We cover everything you need to crack interviews and stand out in your role, surpassing industry expectations. Think about those MANG companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. They don't have to state dreams. Thousands of our students have landed their dream jobs, and you can be next one. Our course goes beyond theory. It's packed with real-world practicals, hands-on projects that prepare you for what companies actually need. You'll work on real-time projects that make your resume shine and grab recruiters' attention. And it's not just about learning, it's about thriving. You will get everything you need: comprehensive study material, practical codes, quizzes, previous year MANG interview questions, job assistance, portfolio guidance, LinkedIn profile optimization, and an industry-recognized certificate that makes your resume boom. For course details or career advice, you can always reach out to us at the number below. And the link to enroll in our Job Ready Power BI course is right in the description. Let's take this journey together. So, are you ready to transform your future and land at dream company like Google or Walmart? Let's meet in the Job Ready Power BI course and make your career goals a reality.